How to, cousins? It's Rusty here. I'm a reseller. Full-time, I buy stuff that I think is undervalued, and I find a place to sell it to someone who's willing to pay more for it. And that's how I make a living. In this video, I'm going to show you a little bit of sourcing. I'm going to show you some stuff we've been doing around the warehouse. And then I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks of things you can do to maybe help you make a buck or two. Come on in.
What's thick here?
Surprise, it's me again. I'm not inside of the Goodwill store. I'm not inside of the other thrift stores. And why is that? Well, I learned a couple interesting things today. First off, when I went into the Goodwill, they asked me to turn off my recorder. So I was not able to record anything in there. That's new. Also, when I went into a different thrift store that I usually go into, they usually have things priced really well, but apparently they've got a new manager, and now all of their jewelry, they do scratch tests and to check the type of metal, and they also weigh it, and then they determine the price they're going to put it out at based on spot gold prices. Whoa, very new. Guys, let this be a lesson to you as well. Times are changing very rapidly. People are learning about this reselling business, and they're changing their tactics. They're getting smarter. So that means you need to be always educating yourself, watching these YouTube videos. I hope you watch ours, more than just one, but also I watch YouTube videos. I learn that way as well. I go out and do it. I talk with people. I learn from them. And then I also watch these videos. So without further ado, I want to show you some stuff that I did find today. We're going to talk about each thing. And if you stick around to the end, I'm also going to show you how to test for a certain type of jewelry to see if it's a certain type or not. So stay tuned for that. Well, would you check this stuff out? This is what I came back with, folks. Let's talk about it. Here is the bounty from today. Got some old vintage shirts here. And guys, this is not something I usually buy, but I'll talk about that in a moment. I got a nice little booklet here full of postcards. I've got some jewelry, some vintage jewelry, a pocket watch here. I got this nifty old hat, and then I got a bunch of these little bangles here. And at the end, I will show you how to test to see if it is Bakelite or not. That will determine a lot about the price. Let's get into it. All right, cousins, here's a few of the things that I found today. First off, we have this nice little brooch here. It is a costume jewelry brooch. It's made to look real like rough and kind of metallic, almost like this elegance, but without the flashiness. This is not a real stone. This is something made out of some sort of synthetic material, plastic of some kind. But it's made to look like it's cut like a real stone, and it's got these actual prong settings here. It's open in the middle as if to allow light through it, which would indicate a real stone if that were not so opaque and plasticky feeling. But if you look real close right here, you can see that says Les Bernard ink. Anytime, and basically, unless I'm buying a large lot, if I'm buying individual pieces anymore, I only buy pieces that have some sort of maker's mark on it. Now, it doesn't even have to be one I'm terribly familiar with, because I'll look it up in a moment, but there's a lot, even ones that I'm going to show you in a moment, from certain designers like Signer and Weiss and different ones like that. Can bring really good money. Those are some of the higher end ones, Trifari, those. Let's take a look over on eBay and see what something like this might be going for. As you can see here, I have looked up Les Bernard brooch in eBay. And as you can see here, $50, $10, $149, $16, $625. I mean, there is a very wide range here, right? I'm not seeing anything under $5. I'm not seeing anything under $8 right there. It looks like somebody put up it on for a bid, and that one only sold for $8. But most of these are selling in the, I don't know, $20, $30 range. So depending on what how I decide to do it, I'm guaranteed to make, 10, 20 times my investment on this particular brooch. Next up, we got these nice earring pairs. One of these, you can see they're kind of the same style, kind of the same design. One has more of a flashy look, different colored rhinestones. However, one is made in Japan, as you can see right here. It says Japan on it. The other one says Weiss. And this is a good high-end brand. Let's take a look at those and see. I have pulled up here Weiss earrings, ones that have sold in the last 90 days here on eBay. And you can see these ones that have the rhinestones, like this right here with the enamel and these crystal rhinestones. We're looking in the $9.50, $10 on up into $12, $14, sometimes $16. And so that's kind of what I expect. I'd probably put these at around $16. And just see if somebody would to make me an offer on them. But for $1.25, that's not too bad. It's important, guys, to do your research, because just because you think that you had a pair of earrings like this or saw ones that were similar to this at one point in time and you knew they could sell for good money and are in a rush, you know, something like this could also be from Japan. You just don't know. You need to look at the back. You need to look for maker's marks. You need to look to see if there's any sort of indication of some sort of precious or semi-precious metal, just to figure out the value. And that kind of leads me to the next thing here, which is these silver earrings. These are, they're just leaves, essentially. They look like leaves, or not leaves, feathers, rather. They're beautiful, actually. Problem with these, though, is that this has the little loop here that would go into the ear, whereas this one is missing it. And so I can't sell these as a pair of earrings. I didn't buy them, though, because they look cool or because I thought I could sell them. I bought them because on the back, as you can see there, it's, well, let me flip it over so you can see it better. It says 925 right there at the bottom of my thumb. 925 obviously means sterling silver. So these are made out of silver. So there's some weight here. This is a perfect example of something I'm not going to sell by itself. I'm actually going to save it. I'm going to put it in a little jar with other scrap pieces of silver I come across. And whenever I get to where I have about 50 to 100 grams worth of sterling silver, I'll throw it into a scrap lot together to try to sell it. All right? So that's that. Always look on the back stuff, even if it's broken pieces. Sometimes people will sell stuff for super cheap because they know it's broken, but they may neglect to look, or they may not know how to tell whether or not it's made out of something, some sort of a precious metal. So looking over here, we got this nice little necklace. These are kind of round, like loops, basically. This is a gold tone metal with an enamel paint sort of lacquer there on it. Very beautiful. It indicates where the latch is based on the only one here that's completely full. And I'll undo that clasp there. It's really a nice piece. And you can see this on the back, again, has a maker's mark that says Signer on it, C-I-N-E-R. If you're not familiar, this is a brand just like Coro and Weiss, several of these that can sell for really, really good money. Let's go over and take a look right now, and you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the brand Signer. I just looked up the necklace. There's only 114 that have sold in the last 90 days. That's not a whole lot, but you can see that the ones that have sold has sold for a lot of money. We're talking from 60 on the low end. There's 325. Okay, well, here's one for $9.95. That's an outlier, though, because you can see 50, 550, 75, 100, 260. Some of these also I've noticed say that they are 18 karat gold plated. That makes me real interested because there's no markings on this to indicate that it has gold content, but I do have a scratch plate and some chemicals where I can do a test to see if it's made of gold. I just might do that, but even if not, guys, some of these are selling for in the hundreds of dollars. I might just throw it up for 150 and see what happens. Lots of really nice stuff from the Signer Company, as you can see. Now I'm going to pull this up and show you what about here. This is a sterling silver necklace. It was even marked as sterling silver. So it indicates they had taken their due time, they've done their due diligence. They saw 925. It's made out of sterling silver. They wanted $15 for it. I could tell from looking at this, the quality of it and the size and roughly the weight, which I didn't know what the weight was because I didn't have a scale with me, but I knew I could sell this for at least twice what they were asking, $15. I can sell this for $30 to $35 all day long. Let's go ahead and weigh it though real fast and just see what the weight is. Here's my little scale. I can do grams or ounces or whatnot. Oop, I have to set it down actually. Let me try that again. All right, it's gonna get its bearings here. All right, we're set for grams. I'm not gonna worry about the tag. It weighs almost nothing. This particular piece weighs 24.58 grams. So if you're looking to see what the price of sterling silver is, I would always just look up 24 grams of sterling silver. And if you want to say what it is, like a necklace or something, you can do that. But I'm going to show you real quick what I'm talking about. We'll look it up. But the big reason I bought this was because you can see this little piece right here, this little medallion. It is not the same color. It kind of drew my eye. It says 925 on the clasp here. This is a gold color, and when I took a look at it here on the bottom, you might be able to see that it says 585. For those of you who are not familiar with common marks on semi-precious and precious metals, 585 is a European stamp for 14 karat gold. So what we have here is a sterling silver, which is 925 parts out of 1,000 silver. And those other parts are just an alloy to help it with strength. And then you've got a 14 karat gold little, almost like a charm, I guess I would call that, medallion or charm. I don't know if this was on there originally or not, but this adds to the value, guys. We got silver and gold in one thing. Let's go over and look, though, at how you might look up something like this to figure out value. A quick search on eBay for 24 grams worth of sterling silver of a necklace, and you're going to see, again, this range 33, 58, 34. I'm looking to see if I can find one that has roughly the same design of the chain. I think this would be considered closer to a box chain, probably. But you can see we're in the 20s, 30s, in some cases. 75, well, that's 14 karat gold over silver, so never mind on that. But 24 grams, $45. So I believe I could make $30 to $40, possibly more off of this, and that's just not including that little medallion or whatever that was made of 14 karat gold. Very nice to see, that you can get some good money from scrap silver and broken pieces as well. Next one up that I bought here was a nice old Waltham brand pocket watch. I could tell based on the face of this and the way it looks, because I've bought and sold several pocket watches, that this was going to be right around turn of century, right around very late 1800s, early 1900s. Part of that being the way that the part where you wind it looks. Other part about it is the fact that this has the way that the dials look, the way that the coloring on you can probably see here on the outer edge there, these are red letters, or numbers rather, and then the numbers here are Roman numerals as opposed to just a regular 1, 2, or 3, and that was pretty common around turn of the century. And earlier than that, what they were asking for this particular pocket watch was $35. And based on the look of this, I thought this could be gold plated as well. It came with a nice chain that has not been broken. So all of those things together add to the value. You can sell pocket watch chains by themselves for pretty good money. On the back, sometimes these backs screw in and out, and sometimes you can pop them open. This particular one, I can actually pop open with my thumbnail here. And the first thing I always look at is the case, because if it's made of solid gold, a lot of times it'll indicate that. But as you can see, this says it's a Montauk, guaranteed 20 years. And then it has a number for the case for the manufacturer there. Then if we turn our attention to the movement itself, it's American Waltham Watch Company. It says a safety barrel. I don't see where it says the number of jewels, and my guess is that it's a low number of jewels. Usually if it's 15, 21, or more than that, they'll say. Got some really beautiful etching and design here, and then we have a number. What I like to do when I get to a movement to figure out what I'm dealing with as far as the watch movement itself is I'll look up the actual number in there to find in an online website to see what type it is and roughly the model and the year production. So let me go over and take you right now. We'll do it on this exact one. Cousins, a quick search here for Pocket Watch Movement Database pulls this up here, Pocket Watch Database. This, I know from the back there, that this is a Waltham, so I'm going to click on Waltham there. It's going to take me in here, and look, all I have to do is punch in the serial number, which I'm going to do right now. That would be 960-7586. And what do we got here? Well, looky there. That doesn't look exactly, but it looks very similar, actually, to it. This is called, the grade is a Seaside. This is a 7 jewel to 15 jewel examples are reported. So I don't know, it doesn't say on the back of this movement how many jewels. Oftentimes they do, but sometimes they don't. They say it's an 1891 model, and it was estimated that this was produced around 1900. Around 9,000 of these were made. So that's great. Now, you never know what these are put into as far as the case themselves, so always do a test to see, because a lot of times these pocket watch cases can be made of either solid gold or some sort of gold plate. But that's awesome. Now all we have to do is go over and look in eBay, see if we can find a Waltham Seaside, or a Waltham model 1891. Let's see what we might find. The only thing left to do now that we have the information, folks, is to head on over to eBay and check our comps. Let's see what something like this, might be worth. By just looking for Waltham Seaside, we find several different ones. That very first movement at the very top there looks basically identical to the one in this pocket watch. The cases, of course, are going to be a little bit different. This does not have a case that covers the glass over this. It's just open. So this one for $79, for example, is not correct, because that has the type of case that it's in would cover that watch face. So we're looking for ones that do not have that opening, like this one for $97 there. That's probably a pretty good example. However, those are not Roman numerals, whereas this one right here that says $12.95, the face is more similar to that. It has the red numbers and it has the Roman numerals, which is much more common back during the early 1900s, late 1800s. And even before that, in fact. So several of these are selling for good money. However, I've still not found one. This is same style as this antique 1901 there in the middle, but not the same color. So sometimes you have to do a little bit of searching to try to find one. But even if you don't find one that's identical, you get a general idea. So this one right here, 1901 Waltham 6S pocket watch, 15 jewels in the middle there, that looks to be silver colored. So I think this would sell them for more than that. I'm thinking probably somewhere in the $80 to $100 range, especially since it comes with a nice chain as well. So not too bad. For $35, I'm gonna over double my money on that one. I feel pretty good about it. Guys, I'm just a sucker for these old hats. This is Drive, and I don't know if this is like a horse racing oriented hat or what, but you got these awesome patches here on the top front. You got an unblemished, unstained, and this is a super rare for being a white and such a. I mean, look at it. It's a very lightweight hat here. On the back, a couple cool things. We got this. I don't know if this is supposed to go over under your chin to help keep you to keep it on your head or what. Let's see what it says. I've not even looked at this part yet here. United silkscreen ink, made in USA. One size fits all. Made in the USA. There are people who collect hats that like to see that. The only downside about this is that you can see right here the bill has been broken, cracked in the middle. So people who might buy this are not going to probably be buying this for daily wear. They're either collecting it, or maybe some youngster would think it's fun to wear something that looks old, something like that. But for paying 50 cents for this, I think I can turn around and sell this for probably $10, maybe $15 or even more. But for something under $1, I'd sell something and make that kind of margin any old day. Next up, folks, are these vintage polo shirts. First one here is the Jansen brand, and I believe this is a medium. Yes, it is a medium. I've examined it pretty thoroughly. No holes, no tears, and no stains. So we're in a good spot here. I bought this at Goodwill. I think I paid about $4.50 for both of these individually. So $4.50 on this one, $4.50 on the next one. You might say, Rusty, doggone it, that is ugly. Or, Rusty, my grandpa wore that kind of stuff. And you're probably not right on either account. But if you were to say, Rusty, that's not worth anything, well, I beg to differ. But let's go check it out on eBay. Right from the get-go here, guys, you can see that a vintage Jansen shirt. I didn't even put polo shirt in there, but you can see here, 1980s, it says hipster. $14.99, $14.99 plus $5 shipping. $38.99, $19.99, $49.95. So, guys, these are selling. You wouldn't think about looking at it. You say, oh, that old thing, no one would care about that. You'd be wrong. $60, $20, $25. So keep an eye out there. Look at the collar. See what it says on the tag. Familiarize yourself. Do a little research on these vintage brands that can bring some good money. Now what we got here is a vintage Lacoste brand. Lacoste. It's made in Peru, designed in France. And when I say vintage, I don't mean like antique, but this is definitely a few years old. It's got this the nice little stitched in, that logo of the alligator or crocodile. I don't even know exactly what it is, but it's just an orange polo shirt. It says size 6, so I'd have to look and see what 6 is in reference to in their size charts, but. This is just like the Jansen brand. They can sell for good money, especially the really old ones. Let's go take a look. Vintage Lacoste shirt. Again, these polo shirts. Look at this junk. $48, $18 basically, $19, $49. These are like bowling. Those look like bowling shirts. But these polo ones, $24, $25, $35, $30. And so for a $4 investment on each of these, I put $8 into these 2 shirts. One of these shirts, if each of these sells for $15, I've turned 8 into 30. That's not too bad. I suspect at least one of them might do even better than that. I'd love to find one of those green ones. Those are sharp. Finally, folks, we turn our attention to these bangles. I got 5 of these things. They were tied together. This color is very, very indicative of a certain type of plastic that was made, one of the earliest types, called Bakelite. If you're not familiar with it, you should do a little bit of research. They made all kinds of different stuff out of Bakelite. They made jewelry, but they made all kinds of other things as well. The way to test is to get something called semi-chrome polish, and then you just take a regular Q-tip or something like that. This stuff is a pink color. And for something that will be, to identify if it is Bakelite, what happens is you take just a little bit of this stuff on your Q-tip. It's a pinkish hue. You may or may not be able to tell that from the camera there. But what you do is you take a little dab of it. That might have even been too much. I don't need that much. You take a little dab, and you put it just anywhere on it, and you just rub it for a little while. And what's supposed to happen here is, if this changes to a color, like a yellowish or an orangish color, much like the color of this bangle, then it will be, that's a positive test for Bakelite. If it turns brown or black, or does not change color at all, or even turns into like a bright red or something, then it is likely not Bakelite, okay? I have not tested these yet. I paid $1 for all these. I knew that even if this was not Bakelite, that I could sell these and make $8 to $10, right? So I'm going to make good money on this either way. If this is Bakelite, however, this could be more like $30 or $40, believe it or not. So let's try this out here. I'm going to take a little. I'm going to dab it. I'm just going to kind of rub on this for a little bit, just in one spot. The thing about Bakelite is that it has ammonia in it. So even if you rubbed it real hard, and if you rubbed it really hard and like kind of heated it up and smelled it, would smell just yucky because it's got some of those chemicals in it. So I'm rubbing this real good here. Ones that are really old or have a lot of the ammonia in them, like some of the oldest ones, it will make this stuff look real oily. And as you can see there, it's basically not turned color. And so unfortunately for Rusty today, it appears as though I do not have Bakelite in my hands. And you know what, guys, this happens. Sometimes you take risks and you lose. Sometimes you take risks and it works out. But I just wanted to show you and demonstrate how this works. I'm sorry that I didn't, just wow you with coming up with all these Bakelite bangles for $1. But I have done that many times before, and that's why it's worth trying it out. So anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around. Appreciate all of you folks out there learning. You can get this semi-chrome polish from, I think you can buy it on eBay, but you can definitely buy it on Amazon. It's not that much, maybe $14 to $20, something like that, but it'll last you a very long time. I bought a bunch of postcards dies today in this album right here. Bunches of them. But I want to do a video just on those. So I'm going to, this is sort of like the teaser to come back and stick around this week. In a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, I'll drop that video. But I wanted to show you inside of here with all these postcards, as you can see, all these different ones, were these old half-used tickets for children at the Magic Kingdom Disneyland from the 1970s. These alone will make 95% of my money back buying this entire thing, and I didn't even know that they were in there. Crazy stuff. What an absolute surprise this was, and what a cool thing. So I looked up used child Disneyland ticket, and the ones that look the closest here to the one that I have are these that were from the 1970s. And so it looks to me that these were from the 1970s. These are in perfect condition in this particular auction, and there are 3 instead of 2. I would have 2 that are incomplete. And so I'm not going to make $80 off of those. But right here, 70s vintage into 2 of those, I think that's a real good estimate, $25 plus shipping. So what's crazy is I buy this book full of all of these postcards, and I'm able to basically make almost the money back, save about $4 roughly, off of this entire lot, just off of these tickets that were randomly in there that I didn't even know. So sometimes you have fun little surprises like that. It's cool. Who would have thought that people would be buying old Disneyland incomplete tickets from the 1970s? Well, they are, folks. So don't throw those suckers away. If you find them in an old box, throw them up on eBay. Rusty hair.